I have the X Sight 4K Pro 5x20 and paired with the auxiliary ballistic laser rangefinder, and it is sitting on top of my FX Impact MK2. This is a 30 caliber, and we are going to do some shooting in a very dark, rainy night to give you some real world shooting, because you know it's not always going to be sunny out, it's not always going to be nice out. So let's get to it, and then we're going to give you some tips, because I've seen a lot of reviews on the X Sight, but I haven't seen any or very few of them using a pellet. Okay, so we're going to show you where we're shooting from, and it is pouring out, and we're shooting in low light situation here. So there's our target, but when you shut off the light completely, it's hard to see. We're shooting from way over there, and we're going to shoot two targets. And we're going to use the ballistic calculator to calculate how far, what the distance is of each shot. Here is our other one right here, and it's getting quite wet quite fast. So it is really crappy out there, and it is raining like crazy. So originally I was going to do two shots. I can't even keep the paper on my little target over there, so I'm just going to go towards the tree. So we're going to take a shot, and we're going to take a look and see how well that shot comes out. So I'm going to turn on the camera, and we are recording, and we're going to see what we do here. And we are pretty gosh darn close. Hopefully you'll be able to see this, because it's definitely grainy. And I don't have the night vision on. And we're probably in the same hole, looks like. We're also going to show you some daytime shooting as well with the two targets. So we'll be back. Alright, we're going to go take a look and see where those two shots ended up out here. Freaking rains like crazy here. Alright, here we go. Oh. Can't even see. We take two shots. Looks like they're both in the same hole, just a little off. Probably a lot of the rain, but it is what it is. Before we begin, there's a couple of things you should know about the X Sight. Is that you have to put in a lot of variables into the sight before you can use it properly. The first thing you have to know is the feet per second on your gun. In this case, it is 800 feet per second. I chronographed it just the other day. The other thing you need to find out, which we'll talk a little later, is the coefficient of your pellet. And there's a chart for that. It goes from 177 caliber all the way up to 30 caliber. However, it just stopped at 30 caliber. So your big bore guns, I'm not too sure exactly how you're going to find your coefficient about. So it might be something to consider if you're purchasing the X Sight for that. So the way this works is when you have the ABL1000 attached to it, the rangefinder, it works in conjunction with this via Bluetooth. You turn this on, and it auto connects to your X Sight, and then you push the center button right here, and it sends out the laser, and it picks up your target, and it sends the information back to your scope, and it will adjust the reticle accordingly to the amount of yardage that you're shooting at. So that is, I think that's awesome, because many times I will go over to, say, my brother's who lives on a mountain. I can shoot out there 75, 80, 100 yards. But then later, you know, maybe I want to shoot in my backyard, which I'm only going to get about 47 yards. Well, it's very unsafe to have to go back and readjust your scope. So in this case, it's very easy because all you have to do is use the rangefinder, push the button, it tells me the amount of yardage, and it adjusts the radical accordingly. So that's just awesome to be able to do that. And it does have, inside the X Sight, it does have a rangefinder built into it. However, it is not that accurate, and because of the inaccuracy I feel with it, I purchased the ABL1000 in conjunction. I wish I didn't have to, because it does make the gun a little bit heavier. With this fully loaded, it's just a little over 10 pounds, which still isn't bad, but it's mainly because my FX is fairly lightweight, so it does add some weight to your gun. This one here is at 30 yards. Then I have this one at 50 yards. So I'm going to shoot to 30 yards. I'm all set up for the 30-yard target. We're going to try that first. Bullseye. Now I'm going to adjust it. I have to go to 50 yards. So I have to adjust the scope and a few clicks here. Pretty damn close. That's 50 yards right there. So one of the nice things with the X Sight is the ability to change from one gun to another, and you can have multiple profiles for each gun. So in other words, my impact will say impact on here, and then I can switch it to, this is my Hatson 135 and 30 caliber. So I can just change my profile over. And since I've already have it all set up in here, I'm good to go. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot, and yes, this is in my house, but it is exactly 10 yards to my target. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little guy right here, my laser finder. And when you push this button, you'll see like a little square, and you focus it on the target, and it'll give you how many yards it is, and it'll automatically calculate everything, your radical, so it'll adjust the radical by itself. So the ability to switch from one gun to another and just change your profile is great. Probably one of the biggest tips I'm going to give you, instead of reading the manual, have it with you, of course, but it's better to read it on your computer, because it's much larger. It'll make sense to you a little bit more. It also has 4 or 5 videos on the X Sight. So my advice is to, on your leisure, go through it on your browser. It's just a lot easier. And then you also have to have your pellets. You have to know your co-efficiency on each pellet, whether you're doing 22 caliber, 25, 30. This is the 30 caliber. You want to go to hardairmagazine.com, H-A-R-D airmagazine.com, and look for the little button for the co-efficiency. So anyhow, getting back to the gun, this is my Hatson. We're going to shoot down. It's just 10 yards to the target, and then from there we're going to bring it back to 17 yards, going way back into the other room and shooting. I would shoot outside, it would be better, but first of all, it gets dark at 4:30. That's number one. Number two, the wind is blowing about 35 miles an hour, and for a break barrel, you know, you're not going to get much out of it. What I'm really showing you here is the capabilities with this scope to be able to change it from one gun to another gun with ease once you have it all set up. And you don't have to recalibrate. At least I have not had to calibrate the scope again, so that's a really nice plus. But the ability just to switch them back and forth, because you don't want to go through the expense of buying this for each one. But if you're a hunter, this is great because it's very hard to know what your distance is. This will quickly calculate whether you're doing 30 yards or 50 yards, and then to be able to calculate and have the reticle set right where it has to be within, you know, a few seconds. That's awesome, and to get an accurate shot and a lethal kill. So anyway, let's go ahead, load this baby up, and let's see what we can do. I think that's in there someplace. Do a couple more. You can really hear that slam down range. Let's do one more. Okay, 3. Now we're going to back it up to 17 yards. If you look on the screen to the lower right hand side, I believe you're going to see where the yardage is. A little different in my scope, but I should say 10 yards from here. So let's back it up. We'll throw down another 2 or 3 shots. Be right back. Okay, now we're shooting at 17 yards, and by the way, this is the 30 caliber Hatson, and these are the heavy duty. These are the 50.15 grain pellets that we are shooting, and let's get to it. Do a quick adjustment here. Definitely a little blurry. There we go. Not bad. And we'll do one more. Right, now just on a little side note here, of course this laser rangefinder is definitely expensive. If you already have a rangefinder and you don't want to go through the expense of this, you can manually put in the range, and it's really easy. Just flip through here a little bit until you find the range, and then you turn the dial to whatever, you know, if you're doing 30 yards, 40, 50 yards, you click it in and hit OK. Of course, this is faster, but still, if you want to save yourself some money and weight, because this adds a lot of weight, you can just use a standard rangefinder and then put it in here, and you're good to go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.